Yeah, I love minor blues stuff.
Gosh, I do too, man. This is going to be a fun session, guys. Hey, thanks for being here. Dan Denley from guitarzoom.com. This is my good friend, Steve Stine.
Hello.
And today we're doing a minor 12-bar blues for you. We have already covered, guys, in this workshop series that we're doing, the Blues Guitar Workshop Series, we've covered the basics of blues soloing, tools, touch, and tone. We have covered the blues scale. We have covered the major 12-bar blues. Today we're covering the minor 12-bar blues, and we're going to do a session on playing blues in any key. And all of these workshops, Blues Guitar Workshop Series, are related to Steve's new course. So if you're enjoying this workshop series, I think you'll like the course. It's called Blues Guitar, and it's by Steve Stine. And it's available at guitarzoom.com. Thank you for being here, everybody. Really appreciate it. Steve?
Yes.
What, sir, are you going to learn us today? I am so stoked.
Hopefully you joined us for the 12-bar blues session in major, because the minor really isn't that difficult. It's just really understanding. What we're going to talk about today is how to play it. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the application. And then real soon here, I'm going to be talking about, we're going to do another session on major and minor pentatonic, and if you don't know anything about that, you're going to find that pretty amazing as well. But like I talked about in the last session, most music, not just blues, but most music in general, is either based off a chord that is major in tonality or minor in tonality. So if you're in the key of, for instance, G major, that means that G major is your main chord. You're going to go to other chords, but you're going to come back to that G major sound, right? If you're in a minor key, it's the same idea, except your chord, your main chord, is minor in tonality. So if you think about it, like if I took this G minor chord here, you know, it has such a deeper, darker sound than a major chord does. And there's only one note that's different. You know, if you know your bar chords, I'm putting my middle finger down for major, and I'm taking the middle finger off to create the sound. But if you really listen to it, you know, major has that kind of sound, but minor has a sadder tone to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take everything that we discussed in the last session for major and do exactly the same thing, but the difference is that the three chords that we're emphasizing now would be built off minor. So let's go ahead and be in the key of A again, like we were in the last session. So what I'm going to do is take that A major chord that I was playing before, A major bar chord, but I'm going to take the middle finger off, okay, to get that minor sound. Now, maybe I'll move over here and thin that out a little more. There you go, so you can kind of hear that thinner sound. Okay? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take in this point, I'm going to take the pinky off as well and create what we call an A minor 7 chord. And when I do that, now all of a sudden it becomes even more colorful. And that really exemplifies the sound of like minor blues, is making that chord major, or excuse me, taking it from major and making it minor by taking that middle finger off, and then taking the pinky off again. Now if I was to play the minor pentatonic over the top of that, it sounds really nice. Now if I add in a little, again, delay and reverb to that, you get a really nice sound. So what I'm going to do is then I'm going to take my 4 chord, which was D major, and I'm going to switch that to D minor. Okay, so I'm playing 5, 7, 7, 6. That's the note right there. Okay, now I could make this into a 7th chord as well by taking that pinky off. And again, you get a really nice colorful sound there. So if I'm going from my A minor 7, into my 4 chord, back to the A minor 7, you can hear that it sounds vastly different. And Dan made a point, I think, in the last session, which I'm going to reiterate right now, is that oftentimes when you're dealing with minor blues, it tends to be slower in nature, which is really nice because as a guitar player, you can really enjoy like strumming through that. You don't have to be in such a hurry all the time. You know, it doesn't have to be that. It can be that, but it doesn't have to be. You know, you might really try and exemplify all those sounds. I just love those kind of chord sounds. And I can still play it in the context of the 12-bar blues that we learned last time, right? Again, I'm not going to speed it up because it'll sound silly. I'm going to keep it slow, but if I went 1, here comes my 4, my 5 chord, which is going to look exactly like my 4 chord, just like last time, right? I take major, make it minor, maybe take that pinky off to make that 7th sound. And sometimes I even like to do that. I might just use my fingers. Right? So again, you're looking for sound. It's not just learning that the 12-bar blues does this or that, and that the minor is just these chords. It's learning how to play it so it sounds really cool. And that really sets up your solo then, like we talked about earlier, where I could use minor pentatonic or maybe blues. But if that rhythm is really giving me something that I can feel, it makes the dynamics that I want to add to the song, like we talked about again in an earlier session, and we talk about in the course, easier to feel and want to apply to the solo, right? Where if the rhythm that I'm playing over is just, it's not giving me anything that I can feel, it's not anything that's, it's hard to create a solo that you really go, wow, I'm feeling this, I'm in the moment. You know, so that's why it's so important. Sometimes you even make your own backing tracks or your own jam tracks because you really want to play what you like the most, right? We're actually going to do a session later about choosing the right jam tracks because oftentimes I find with students is that half their battle is they're choosing the wrong things to try and improvise over. They're not finding the right thing that works for them, and you know, this kind of slow minorish sound is just something that I really love to play. So.
It sounds awesome. I love minor blues. It's just, there's something about it. And you can just get lost in it. I mean, you can play that stuff for hours.
Yep,
this is super cool, man. So guys, if you're just now joining us, we're talking about the minor 12-bar blues. And this is part of the Blues Guitar Workshop series. If you're joining us late, don't worry. It's going to be fine. We're going to save all of these live sessions for you as a video, as a recording. You can go back and watch. They'll be in a playlist for you there on the GuitarZoom YouTube channel. And we're talking about the minor 12-bar blues today. This is part of the Blues Guitar Workshop series that we're doing for you. Lots more to come. So you might want to, if you're enjoying these, you might want to subscribe and click notify so you can get notified of the next session that we're going to be doing. And hey, if you want to learn this stuff even faster, in a very step-by-step way, Steve's new course might be something that you want to check out. It's called Blues Guitar. by Steve Stine, and it is a step-by-step A to Z guide to playing all things blues. And it's available for you at guitarzoom.com. This is awesome, dude. I just thought about one that I'm going to ask you when well, maybe I'll just ask you now in front of everybody. Maybe we could do a session on using minor ninth chords. We're using minor sevenths here, and it also just adds that different sound. Just add that ninth in there, but don't do it now because I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah. Again, one thing that I will recommend, though, if you're watching this, is one thing that I found that I really enjoy doing, and I teach it all the time, is chord exploration. So even if you don't understand what a ninth and 11th and all these other things are, what you can do is you can look at your scale and you can try and add something in. Like if you've got a finger that's not being used somewhere on the guitar, you can add it on, right? So if you were, for instance, looking at minor pentatonic, I'm going to be an A here. So let's look at that 8 and this 8 right here, right? So when I'm playing this A minor 7 chord, my pinky is bored, has nothing better to do. So I might take that pinky and place it on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. And that creates, again, it's an A minor 7 sound. Just another octave of that, but it sounds quite nice. If I set it up here, then I get a different kind of sound. The 9 that Dan is talking about, you see I could add in and right there. I can add it in multiple octaves, but the point is that if you can see the scale, oftentimes you could add in those notes, or at least try it and see what sound you come up with. Because that's what I used to do, like with normal chords. I would take fingers off and I would try different things to see what kind of sounds I could come up with. And not understanding sus and all these different things that I learned later, but it actually started. There's a song called Black Diamond by Kiss, and that's kind of where my first introduction of all of this embellishment stuff came from. Was I didn't know what I was doing. I just was listening, trying to. I don't know if you know that song, Dan, or not, but I, a huge Kiss fan. So that's where I started learning about adding in notes. But again, I don't want to add them in all the time, because then it's taking away from what the solo might be doing, right? If I'm making this way too busy. So it's just something to explore a little bit, for sure.
Yeah. This is awesome, dude. So we were talking about minor 12-bar blues. A lot of people, I think, don't even know that there's a difference in a minor. I mean, they hear it, but they don't really think, oh, well, pretty much the only difference between a major 12-bar blues and a minor 12-bar blues is you change the chords from, let's say, major to dominant to minor. Mm-hmm. But the form is the same, the chord form. And I mean, not the chord form, but the song form in terms of the 12-bar blues.
Yeah, it's, the thing is again, it all depends on whether you're thinking with your rhythm guitar brain or you're thinking with your soloing brain, right? Because again, they're both, we as guitar players and certainly as educators, we tend to gravitate to talking about soloing a lot. And because everybody likes to learn how to solo, but rhythm is very important, learning how to play not only proper chords and proper groove and that sort of thing, but really learning how to accentuate the sounds of that chord, right? I mean, I might take, let's say I move over here even, to a cleaner sound. See, the slower I strum, the more you kind of get to hear each individual note as they pass. And in order to do that, I have to play a slower rhythm to allow me time to play a slower strum. Which means that whoever's going to be doing something over the top of this, whether it's somebody singing or somebody soloing or whatever, they're going to be feeling that slowness, right? They're going to be hearing that. They're going to be hearing those arpeggios. Arpeggio just meaning I'm playing through the chords slower, kind of breaking up the sound, right? So when that guitar player comes in and he or she is going to, right? Again, the environment right now is very mellow and slow. That minor 4 chord, right? Then here comes the A. So I start kind of thinking about those, and that's kind of the whole fun of the progression of this is that at some point, like I've been preaching all along, is that you really start believing that it isn't just about information. It's about application. It's just got to be about application. Otherwise, you could look at a guy like B.B. King and go, well, he wasn't good, he wasn't smart, he didn't know all of his music theory, and he didn't, admittedly so. He didn't know all the notes on his guitar, admittedly so. So if we're going with that logic, that means he wasn't a good guitar player because he didn't understand anything. Or Eddie Van Halen, for that matter. Eddie doesn't understand any of this stuff. So it can't be about that. It's got to be about application, right? But there's no doubt that understanding something, putting a name to something or an understanding to something in some capacity can certainly be beneficial for you because you can go, okay, well, I didn't know what a blues note is, but now I do, right? Whether you call that blues note a flatted 5 or not, I think is kind of irrelevant at this point, right? But it's understanding what it sounds like and being able to apply that. So just kind of keep that in mind as you keep going because again, the two traps that I find with most guitar players is, number one, either they overindulge in information, playing information, and they wind up lost, or they overindulge in information and they can't apply it. And those are kind of the two camps. The happy people are in the middle where they're learning a little bit of each one of these things and making it something that is usable and functional in their playing. So when when you go home and you practice, or when you grab your guitar after work or after school or whatever it might be, think about that a little bit when you're playing. Think about the tone things I talked about, and think about your approach to playing, not just that you've just learned an A minor. Like A minor 7 might be a brand new chord for you. And you go, oh, I've never played that before, it sounds kind of cool. But then really explore what it sounds like on top of the tone that you've built, right? And the dynamics of playing it. I'm going to go back here and try this again. Add a little this. See, now that might sound really nice, and then when the rhythm or when the soloist comes in, go with a little beefier sound, and now they're very different from each other. You see, so the rhythm is a little bit thinner in sound, and the solo has a little more meat to it. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, question. Do you have a minor 12-bar blues or a minor blues, like a solo blues that you could show us?
Sure.
And maybe show us that, what you were just, because I just love to hear you play.
Yeah.
And if you'd like that, please.
So, again.
Yes, guys. In the comments.
What I'll do is, this one is one that I did in G minor, okay? Now, it's got some little twists and turns in the 12-bar blues section, but, it's a 12-bar blues is what it is. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be playing in B minor or G minor pentatonic. And I'll try as hard as I can to avoid adding too many notes of other scales. I'll try and keep it just kind of G minor pentatonic with blues a little bit. I mean, that totally reminds me of, and believe me, I am not saying I'm anywhere on the line of Gary Moore, but I'm saying that's his phrasing to me. That's what I love about Gary Moore's playing, is that he will start off with this thing and just lull you in, and then he'll just rip something out and, rip your head off and then come back again. And I've always loved that about, that to me was the epitome of rock and roll guitar playing, whether it's metal or rock or blues. It was that, being able to dynamically lift something really huge and then bring it back down, and then lift it up and then bring it back down. And it just creates this whole ebb and flow thing to playing, which is what I love about guitar playing. wanted to grab the whammy bar that doesn't exist on this guitar. You see? I mean, that's the fun is once you start learning to
It's so good.
control the environment, again, the rules of it should be fast, it should be slow, it should be shred, it should be arpeggios, it should be blues, it should just less is better. None of that stuff matters. It matters to you, right? In your ability of being able to make it sound real. That's the whole point. Because, there are times when you play guitar that you're feeling nothing. Like if I was playing, I don't mean to pick on any songs, but if I was playing, I'm walking on sunshine, I don't know that I'd be feeling it. I get that it's poppy and boppy and all that sort of thing, but I'm not sure that it's anything that I would feel, right? I would be playing it because it's out of obligation. That's my job. But every once in a while, you'll play along with something where you really can feel that you want more, you want less, or you can feel that something's, it wants to rise in intensity or whatever it might be. And that's kind of the fun of it is being able to speak that language with your fingers. Where
cool.
if you don't really understand how to move around or you don't really know what the tools are, like we first talked about, it's hard to express that because you're missing those tools. And again, the first thing that most people would do is go, well, I got to learn more. Okay, maybe that's true. But maybe it's not. Maybe you would just have to learn how to apply better, because a lot of the stuff that I'm doing on the guitar right now it's not that I'm playing complicating. I'm just trying to respond to the music that I'm hearing in a way that I'm feeling, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it is. So it isn't about playing modes versus pentatonic or, it isn't really that. They're all in there. It's all in there. Modes are in there and pentatonic's in there and chromatic stuff is in there and wrong notes are probably in there. But it all becomes the soup that I talked about in one of the earlier sessions. It becomes what I'm hoping is tasteful for someone to listen to. If not, that's okay, because it's certainly tasteful for me to feel, right? Because at the end of the day, the most important person I have to try and please is myself. Especially on social media, for God's sakes, you're not going to please everybody, right? So if that's your goal, go find another career, because it doesn't work that way on social media. So you got to find a way to play. Like I remember, and again, I don't want to talk your ear off, but I remember going from a time when I would record myself playing and I hated it to recording myself playing and I didn't mind it. I would never be someone to say, wow, I loved it, because I don't know that I would ever say that about my own playing. But getting to a place where I can accept it and go, yeah, that works, versus, that was kind of whatever. And some days are better than others, just like any other person on the planet. Every guitar player that you may look up to has bad days and good days, right?
That's right.
But the more you can understand about yourself and the things that you really like, major blues versus minor blues, which one do you like better? Slow versus fast, right? I mean, whatever it might be. And you start honing in on that going, okay, well then you're making the right choices of stuff that you're really trying to jam over. A common question would be, well, shouldn't you learn how to play both? Yeah, if blues is your world, if you're planning on playing in a band, you got to learn how to play over major blues and minor blues for sure.
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Sage advice from a guy who's been around and played and taught and continues to just share your gift, Steve. It's an awesome privilege, man, to hang out with you. Guys, I want to thank every single person who showed up today to today's live session. It is really awesome when anybody shows up. Steve and I are just like, yay! Otherwise, it's just me and Steve. So when you guys show up, it means the world to us. Please know that, and we do thank you. And we know that without you, we wouldn't be doing any of this. So we owe it all to you. So thank you. And listen, if you missed out on this session, if you joined us late, if life got in the way, whatever, no worries. We're going to save this live session for you in a nice, tidy blues guitar workshop playlist. It'll be available for you on the GuitarZoom YouTube channel. Just go to the YouTube channel at GuitarZoom, or go to YouTube, go to GuitarZoom channel, click on playlist. It'll be there for you. If you've enjoyed this blues guitar workshop, I think that you're going to love Steve's new course. It's called Blues Guitar, and it's by Steve Stine. And Steve won't say it, so I'll say it because he's a super humble guy. He poured his heart and soul into this course for you. And it's really a step-by-step, everything to do with blues, the foundations of it, the 12-bar blues, blues soloing, blues scales, how the whole thing fits together, rhythm and tone and touch and all these different things that you can utilize to become a better guitar player. And to your point earlier, Steve, I like to point out that, guys, if you decide to get the course, the blues guitar course, everything there is step by step for you. And here's the thing: sometimes people get overwhelmed. They're like, "Well, I'm if I get the course, then I've got to go through everything." No, you don't. If you get the course and you learn, like if you just get through the first module and you like master the 12-bar blues and you master the major and the minor 12-bar blues into some basic shuffle rhythms or something, and then you never get to the rest, or you get to it maybe a year from now or whenever, that's fine. You got value from that one thing, and that one thing can completely change your playing. And really the whole goal is to have more fun. And the better you are, the more fun it is to play. So don't get overwhelmed. Don't, hey, let's not take this too seriously. This is guitar playing. This is a hobby. This is supposed to be, it's a hobby for 99.9% of the people who purchase your courses, Steve, and who watch your videos and all of that. So let's just keep in mind that the whole goal is to have fun here. And,
I'll add to that too. It's not only the better that you play, the better you are, the more fun it is to play. The better you feel, the more fun it is to play. I mean, sometimes it's just something that gets exciting on the inside, right? Whether or not the mass audience is going to hear you or not, it's just like I love revelations on this instrument. And what I found is that the older I get, the revelations aren't huge concepts. They're just little things that I learn and go, wow, that's a really cool thing that I could add. But then, like I've said many times before, then I shut everything off, like Dan just said, and I develop that thing, whatever that thing is. It might just be a note. It might just be a lick. But it might be a concept. It might be, a scale or who knows what. But it's really trying to add it in. So, because the whole thing is when go time happens, especially if you've never performed on stage with a guitar or something like that, there's a difference between learning songs by people and improvising, right? I mean, if you're in a cover band and you learn songs and then the solos come up, you either learn the solos as best you can note for note, or you improvise the solos, right? Or you don't play them, somebody else plays them. They're all such different worlds as a guitar player. And so this whole blues thing is about developing a platform that most guitar players, most musicians speak. I've played with jazz bands before, large jazz ensembles, where we still will play blues, to jam, to warm up and things like that. And, where if I'm playing in one of my metal bands, we don't warm up with blues, right? But I play in multiple, I wear multiple hats in my life because I love to play different styles of music. I'm not just at least I try not to be a one-trick pony. And that's the trick is that blues is a language that a lot of musicians speak. So to be able to hear somebody say, oh, this song is in D minor blues, and you don't have to panic, right? You can use your tools and go, what does that mean to me, right? What does D minor blues mean? Well, it's probably 12-bar blues in the key of D minor, right? And I know D minor pentatonic. I don't know anything else, but I know D minor pentatonic. Well, that's okay. You've got a tool. Right, that you can use. So it's just chipping away at the stone. That's what it is, right?
Man, yeah. And I think, to amplify what you're saying, Steve, you don't have to learn everything, guys. What you just need like one thing that's like a new revelation for you. And it doesn't have to be like mind blowing. It can be, wow, I didn't know that you could use minor seventh chords in a blues, 12-bar blues. And now that like opens up a whole new world for you,
And take that inspiration in the way you're feeling and shut everything off and practice. Because it'll go away. Like if you learn 9 more things on top of it, you're going to forget what that thing was.
Yeah.
That's the trick is you got to learn to apply it. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Cool. Well, hey guys, thanks again for being here. We really appreciate it. Join us for the next session that we're going to do, which is going to be blues in any key. So you can learn that. coming up in the next blues guitar workshop. If you want to learn that, come back and join us. If you want to learn blues guitar A to Z, step by step, go check out Steve's new course. I think you'll like it. And it's called Blues Guitar by Steve Stine. And like all of Steve's courses, available for you at guitarzoom.com. It's been a pleasure, Steve, as always, and it's
Absolutely.
been awesome to hear
It's
with
been
you.
a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody got a little something they can use, and stay positive, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.